Hopefully the trolls won't follow me. I'm sorry. I
Hey,
spoke.
I have moderators, so
Good, good. I don't do that. I don't cut people out. But if you want to, feel free to. They'll come over here if they want to. Can I come back in 30 seconds?
Sure.
oh,
Oh, you already started?
Yeah.
Too late.
hey guys, this is Natural Progressive. I'm really excited. I have one of my favorite independent media personalities on with me today. If you do not know him, you need to get to know him and go watch his show. He is a very brilliant YouTuber. Uh, I will explain why I think he's so brilliant in a few moments. But first, let's meet Marcus Conte. Hello, Marcus,
Hey,
and welcome.
here I am. Hi. Thank you guys for having me on the show. It's I'm used to asking the questions and pushing people, so I'm a little out of my element, but we're gonna have some fun, right?
It's the first time for everything.
Right. Right. So,
Okay, so this is why I think you are so brilliant.
oh, tell me.
Okay, I didn't subscribe for you. I would watch, but I wouldn't subscribe to you for a while because I wasn't sure what where you landed in politics. I didn't know if you were a Trump supporter or a Bernie Sanders supporter or on the fence or whatever. I had absolutely no idea. And I'm like, okay, so either this person's really ignorant or this person is the most brilliant person I've ever seen in my life. Because I don't know if this was if you planned this. I mean, was that kind of a technique to to pull in Trump supporters and make them understand what is going on?
You know what it is that yeah, it's something like that. I'm not a supporter of Trump. I didn't vote for Trump. I voted for Jill Stein. I voted down,
Me
Green
too.
Party right down the line.
You fit
When
in really
Hillary
well with this crowd. Just saying.
when Hillary Clinton cheated, and it was obvious that the Democrats were cheating Bernie Sanders, and they weren't going to roll it back, and they were happy with the cheating, and they thought that they could strong arm everybody into voting for the corrupt Hillary Clinton. I threw my vote at Jill Stein. If I ever vote again, I'm not really sure because I still think they're rigged. But
I think they're rigged.
I don't support Trump. I believe that Trump was a necessary evil, kind of like the wrecking ball. And as
Mm-hmm.
far as the people are concerned, here's the deal, right? In my view, Democrats kept saying, "Oh, hey, Trump's a racist. Trump's a bigot. Trump's a buffoon," and and all these things that just categorically are incorrect. They didn't realize that he was just a player. That he was a an astute politician, an entertainer of sorts. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Definitely entertainer.
is Trump a racist? No, Trump's a New Yorker. Trump's got a big mouth, right? And that I can see how that. But here's the deal. When the Hillary Clinton people started calling everybody in the middle of the country racist, xenophobes, and
Mm-hmm.
homophobes, and they're and all these words, right?
Well, I know. What was it? What did she call them? A bat or a basket of deplorables? Yeah,
Well, just
that's really good to gain their votes and their
right.
confidence.
Right.
Yeah.
So there is an ideological divide with the Trump people and the Sanders people, the sleepy people that watch mainstream media. There's probably three or four divides. Where am I? I mean, I try to get in the middle of it. I have a clear bias. I think that at this point, Sanders is still correct, despite his favoring, RussiaGate, and
I know. See,
he's still on the right side of the policy.
yeah, you're still on the right side of the policy. I, it still bothers me that he didn't stand up against the election fraud and the cheating. Um,
Yeah.
and 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 yeah, the Russiagate thing, falling for that. He knows it wasn't Russia. He knows what really happened. So
He
that
pissed off a
bothers
lot of
me.
people. He
Yeah.
turned a lot of people off. Christine. Like I had the lawyer. What's Jared Beck was. I
Mhm.
talked to him for like an hour, and and also Tim Canova that got
Mhm.
cheated directly cheated by
Oh yeah.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Like I talked to these people, and they're never coming back. They don't, they don't trust Bernie Sanders as far as they could throw him. They put up money, they put up reputation, and as far as that crowd is concerned, there's no going back. But I mean, I feel a little differently. I think that I don't I still think like you have to vote for whoever. If you have a Bernie Sanders president, you have someone ideologically correct and in line with the American people. He wants single payer health care. He wants uh, college tuition free at city and state universities. He wants to eliminate student debt. He wants to de escalate the military industrial complex. He's on the right, break up the banks, kill the big pharma, eliminate the insurance companies. So he's
Mhm.
right. He's right on every policy. Now, is he a strong, is he a leader like Trump? Does he have the ability to lead? Well, he did fold. That is, he did fold. But I don't know if enough people stand up, if enough people are behind him, and he just stays on message at using the presidency as the bully pulpit. I think we have a
Yeah.
winner.
We'll see. I mean, I hope we have that much time to get there. Um, Tell me more about your channel though. When did you start it and why did you start it?
Yeah, so I started doing this kind of accidentally. My thing with YouTube was I was using this platform. I was in a lawsuit, right? And I was what I was a sanitation enforcement agent for the city of New York. I worked as a ticket cop, right, for the New York Department of Sanitation, right? I was hired. It wasn't a career. I was there for a year, and in that year, right, what I found out was that there was an illegal ticket quota. Right? When you're hired, they don't tell you that. They say, "Oh no, there's a ticket. No, we don't have a ticket quota. No, but we know how many tickets you should write in the course of a day." So I was like, okay, all right, yeah, and then it's clear, became crystal clear that the number is 10. You must write 10 tickets a day, or these guys will breathe down your ass all day long. They'll follow you around in a car. They'll make up, stuff about you, and
So there was quotas that you had to fill to
right.
bring money into the city or
Yeah, exactly. And there was also a bit of racism. 97% of the sanitation enforcement agents are black, Hispanic, right? Now I'm not a racist. I'm just pointing out the facts, right? That I was one big white guy standing out, right? And so there was that element, this kind of racial element, and I don't, in law enforcement, you're supposed to shut up and do what you're told. It just wasn't my character, so
right.
so I would so how does it lead to the YouTube, right? So what I did was I while they were attacking me, right, and trying making up fake allegations, trying to get rid of me because I would stand up in the room and say, hey, I thought there was no quota. You're telling me go out and write 10 tickets. That's a quota. So and other things too. So what I did was I recorded them, and I caught many people, um, talking about the quota, right? But one very very important guy gave a talk in what's called, it's kind of like in all law enforcement they have a little boardroom, a little meeting before the day, right before the tour starts. Everybody meets and you get your assignment, your car, your radio, you get all your stuff, right? And in this a new lieutenant came on and he told us all about the what he expected, and he described in explicit detail what the quota was, right? Inescapable for 22-minute manifesto. And I got every drop of it. I got every word of what he said. And
Nice.
right, so that there began the career in whistleblower. It was just to defend myself because nobody, I had filed with discrimination court. And then nobody was listening. They didn't want to hear it. They say, you don't like it, quit. That was their idea. We'll help you quit. We'll push you out the door. And so a year went by. I realized that discrimination courts weren't going to do anything, and so I decided to go, public with it. I took the story to ABC, and ABC picked it up. You can watch the videos; they're all in my channel at the
Oh,
very
nice.
beginning. And you could see me. I'm half cop, and I'm talking to the ABC guy, and they exposed it. They played the video, and the quota was gone in one day. I had still had people in there that I was talking to, and by doing that, we eliminated the ticket quotas in New York City for sanitation. Now, did I win the
Awesome.
$1 million that I was asking for? No, I got crushed in the courts, but I was able to. So
Make
then
a
it's
change.
I
Yeah.
yeah I changed public policy by going public, by blowing the whistle. So I continue. So in the course of the lawsuit suing them, that's when the YouTube thing started. I was like, okay, you know what? No one's listening, right? So I'm going to just take my. I like Trump. I'm going to take my message directly to the people inside, and I'm going to broadcast all their bullshit. Excuse me, all their nonsense uh, uh, right in their face over YouTube, right? Inescapable, so that they can't hide from it. They're lying in court depositions. Good. Here's the evidence. And I put the evidence in front of them, and so the first, 200 of my videos was me fighting a lawsuit against the city of New York, and
Wow.
so, and that was it. And then, then the case was over. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try to pivot this to the big picture, right? And it, it clicked, and it seems to, it's people are interested. When people stop being interested in what I have to say, then I'll stop playing music again.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. You're really interesting and different than other YouTubers. The way you present things is entirely different. I really like the readings from Animal House that you do in your muse. That's really, I don't know, it drew me in, even when I wasn't sure, what is this guy talking about? Is he for Trump? Is he just, I didn't know. I didn't know what you were doing, but soon
Yeah.
enough, I figured you and I agree on a lot of things. Not that I have to agree with everything um, uh, that people do on YouTube to be a subscriber. I just, a certain portion and maybe have some new ideas, But I totally understand your fight with was it New York City?
Yeah, New York City. Yeah.
That's big. I had a battle with Cargill Incorporated, like the number one privately owned company in the world, and it was a 4-year battle, three different federal cases. I won two of them before I had an attorney. The third one got resolved. That's all I could say about it. But I was a whistleblower as well with the OSHA um, safety stuff. So I understand that. And I kind of wish I had the YouTube at my disposal or knew how to use it back then. That was 2013 through 2016,
Mhm.
17, 2017. Oh, I don't remember.
I'm reading your
It was four
comments.
years.
I'm reading your comments. Scott Maturo. Marcus sounds pro fossil fuel companies. No, I'm
No,
not.
he's not.
We haven't gotten there yet. I got some trolls. Marcus the gay LARPer. Oh, there you go. What's up, Pat Hacker? Pat Hacker in the house.
You haven't listened to Marcus enough. You don't know. He's awesome that way. He's very
It's
um
ignorance. I'm not about fossil fuel. What the hell are you talking about?
we were
Talking
gonna
about.
actually talk about environmentally related issues like the new report, well, fairly new report that has come out about human civilization likely to collapse before 2050.
Yeah.
And that's not even considering biodiversity loss. That's just climate and that issue. So um, that's, yeah. What do you think? What was your reaction to that? And do you buy it?
No, I don't. I don't. I No, I do buy it. I buy the idea conclusively that we're going to be gone by 2050. I don't. I'm not sure of that. It could be faster. It could
I
be
don't
slower.
think. Yeah, yeah. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Here's what I'm looking at. This is the thing that turned my head around. Right. I got this the biodiversity ecosystem services put out by the UN on May 6th, 2019, and I read it. And you want me to read it? I'll read a couple of pieces that really changed my mind about what I was seeing. This is what I think. Right, as a kid, right, you grow up, and there's giraffes and there's all these species. There's wild lions in Africa, right? There's all this stuff going on, right? And
Hmm.
now we're eviscerating the planet. Right? There's no like there's a million species going extinct. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
within the next couple decades, a
Right.
million species are going to go extinct that we depend on to live ourselves. And it's not just,
Right.
oh, they're just animals and plants. No, we need those animals and plants,
Right. Right. It's
organisms.
it's interconnectivity that we're dependent on trees for air and other species to eat certain things so that bacteria and viruses don't. There's a delicate balance, and I think that anybody who doesn't see that is either, well, I'll say it honestly, is either strung out on some sort of religion that doesn't allow them to see it, or
Yeah.
it's just IQ below 70 that just doesn't get it. It's like,
Right. I love that you were good that just that protest you went to for what is it, Pride.
yeah,
And you were talking to those religious people that were holding up all their signs about, you know, how evil being gay is. I don't remember what all the signs said, but um that was amazing when you asked them about why they believe that, and they think it's all the everything that's happening with the environment right now. They think it's a curse from God because of the gay people. It's like, how ignorant can you get?
it's crazy. It's
That's the
crazy.
problem with religions. They think, oh, this is just God paying us back for all the
Well, you know
sins.
what?
And
In fairness, right? Some of those people were. It was interesting because some of them were right. A lot of the people in the comments were saying that they were saying that they're there because they want to warn these people of their sin. But
mhm,
isn't judging others a sin according to
yes,
the right? So you're there judging them on their day, right? And you're standing in judgment on their day of liberation. Their
celebration. Yeah,
Right, their freedom, right? That look, homosexuality in species is already is well documented, right? It's
yeah,
not
in
a
every species, just about. Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. It's just, you got to open your eyes a little bit. It's been Why is it so prevalent now? The the defectors of that would say, well, no, no, because now that they're choosing it because it's more out in the open. No, it's people have always been that, except that they weren't allowed to to come out and talk about it freely without prosecution.
right. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, I was, I don't know where I heard it. It's one of the, it's not an anti-religion, but atheist channels that I watch, Mr. Atheist. He's hilarious. But he was saying that King James, so the King James version of the Bible, he was bi. And it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
they don't even know the history of the book that they think is the
Yeah,
greatest truth.
they right, right. And again, it's not a bash on religion. It's like
No.
I'm a I spent I don't even talk about this on the channel, but I spent many 10 days retreats in total silence once for a month, sitting legs crossed,
Some more
mostly
Buddhists, Zen
yeah,
Buddhists.
mostly the teaching of the Buddha. I'm not a Buddhist. I'm not a religious person, but if there were a stadium full of people and you had to pick your section to sit with, I would
Mhm.
probably go sit with the Buddhists. I'd
Me too.
probably because it's not necessarily a religion. It's something that once you realize it, when you train your mind to be still, like the tendency. I'll give you an example. Like I'm reading your comments, and some of the jackoffs are. Excuse me. I'm sorry for cursing. I can't help myself.
You
But
can swear. It's okay. There's swearing on my
some of
channel.
these guys are already trying to. There are the gay larper shit is following, and the mind, right? Your mind can either lock into the noise around you,
Hmm.
or you can make a choice not to let it affect you. And I think if anything, you ask me, what's if you ask me, the key to my success, whatever that means in doing this, is that I really appreciate when someone takes a stab, because it reveals their inner insecurity. It reveals how, just how unable to, see someone else's perspective, or when I say something and they challenge me, I say, you know what, like yesterday, maybe you're right. Maybe there was something that I wasn't seeing in that, the Christian perspective on gays, right? Because I was a little rough with them, a little bit. I could have been more rough, but I was a
You
little
could
rough.
have been a lot more rough. You did. I thought you were quite respectful,
Yeah,
considering.
yeah, yeah. I only walked away from one lady. That was,
Well,
but the point is that it's a learning, once you shut yourself off, and I think this platform is great. Where you're, there's no, it's no, I mean, there's no we here. It's just me and the crowd. I bounce off the crowd, and so it's all good. But so can I show you the stuff that changed my mind on the global warming stuff? Listen to this. May I?
yes,
May
sure.
I? So nature. I'm reading from the UN's advanced report on biodiversity. Nature across most of the globe has now been significantly altered by multiple human drivers, with the great majority of indicators of ecosystems and biodiversity showing rapid decline. 75% of the land surface is significantly altered. 66% of the ocean area is experiencing increasing cumulative impacts, and over 85% of the wetlands are gone. Uh, and just one more line to add insult to injury. Human actions threaten more species with global extinction. It chokes me up when I
It
read it.
it does me too. That hurts my heart. It,
Right?
it does. It's and
And
people don't
no,
care.
they don't care. Right? So, an average of around 25% of species is assessed. I got lost. Human actions threaten more species with global extinction now than ever before. An average of around 25% of species in the animal and plant groups are threatened, suggesting that around 1 million species already face extinction. Right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and the wetlands hold a lot of species, and yet you see them just here in Utah. I talk about this on my show several times because it bothers me that much. They're building a prison, a brand new prison on the wetlands. They're expanding the airport on the wetlands. They're planning an inland port, which means lots of diesel trucks and all that, making a giant parking lot and a new train station to on and offload stuff on the wetlands. Like, it's just trash to them, and so many species depend on the wetlands for migration, bird species, and
mm,
plus it cleanses the water. It's one of the biggest water filtration systems there is on the planet, and there's only what 15% of it left now, and
yeah.
and they're just eating it more. It's like, oh, we can't live on it, we'll just build something else on a pack in the dirt, and make a
How,
parking
how do
lot,
you
make an
deny it?
airport,
I mean,
prison.
how do you deny it? How do you stand with straight face and say it's not happening? It's like, I mean, I studied biology in school. I was a biology
Mhm.
major. I was a nutritionist, right? I mean, I was
Oh,
actually a
wow.
clinical nutritionist, and you study like cell function and how cells
Mhm.
interact with other cells around it. And
That was a great video you did on that, by the way.
yeah,
Really.
I don't have much of a memory, but if you but yeah, I've talked about it, and
Mhm.
the how this interaction with how we're interacting in simple numbers prove that we're just spinning out of control. There's too many people, right? There's
Yeah.
too many. The
Thank
population
you for
is
saying that. Thank you very much for
there's too many
saying that.
people.
There are too many people, and I think whenever I mention this, I lose subscribers, but I don't really care because it's just a fact that people have to accept. There's only so many people this earth can support, and we've far surpassed that amount, especially with the consumption levels we have. We're consuming everything we see, consume, consume, consume. It's Oh, there's a mountain. It has a rock in it we need. Let's just rip that up and tear the rock out. Let's get the oil out. Let's get the uh, phosphorus out. It's
Just throw the garbage in the ocean.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Let's throw the garbage in the ocean. Let's just poison all the water. I mean, when people realize it takes hundreds and hundreds of thousands of gallons of water to even have one fracking mine, and all that the chemicals that they're pumping into that water is destroying the groundwater, and
Right.
groundwater refreshing already isn't keeping up with need. We're using more than it's being replenished. There is no way we can continue on this path. I mean, one way or another, there is going to be a decline in population, but it's not going to be a pretty one, in my
We're,
opinion.
we're on we're on the road to we're on the road to extinction, just like the dinosaur. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it. I mean, it's an inescapable fact, right? There's too many people, there's too many dinosaurs, and they eat all the trees, and then they starve, and then the one with the biggest teeth start eating each other until there's
Mm,
nothing left, right? And then
yeah.
and then there's no, because they ate all the trees. There's no more air. There's no more oxygen in the air, and
And
so
we're
on.
hurrying that process because we are destroying habitats that other animals need to survive.
Mhm.
And we need to survive, by the way. We also need a habitat to survive in. So yeah, I think the biggest thing that could help is just not have any more kids if you're of that age and past that age. And yes, I did have three children. I'm just going to get that through for the new viewers that you brought here. I had three children. I was not allowed to have my tubes tied when I was 23. The doctors here would not do it until you had three children. I so I have three kids, and as soon as I had those three kids, I had my tubes tied. Birth control was not very effective back then, and even if it was, who wants to be pumped up on hormones? You should have the choice to be fixed if you want to be. It's just yeah. I know people
Are you
don't like
guys are
to
you a
use the word.
are you vegetarian, vegan, vegetarian, any of that?
I'm working.
But it's a tough choice. I
Thanks,
won't.
Eddie. I'm working on it. I don't eat meat very often, once a week
Right.
tops.
Mhm.
It's just a really hard transition, especially with my husband. He doesn't like to, but I'm working on him too. So um,
Try the Beyond Meat products. Right.
I already have.
It's
Yeah.
pretty good. The sausage is damn good. I'm not a fan of the hamburger so
Uh-huh.
much, but that is
I'm
a
not a fan of
good
the hamburger
sausage.
either, but I'm not in general a fan of hamburger. I don't like ground meat
Yeah,
usually. So Um,
because
mostly I do chicken.
you
Hi,
talk about.
Sandy. Hi, Sandy's here. But by the way, Eddie and Elle, thank you, Eddie and Elle, for subbing. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate that. Welcome to the family. We have quite the community here.
Mhm.
Even though I have a smaller channel, I'm working on
Yeah,
building it up. But it's the
just
community that's most important to me.
you tell the truth. That's all that really that's all that. There's no script. It's just if
Yeah.
people are definitely interested. I think that the vegan thing and the vegetarian thing is a big part of it. I think that if we could move people, humans, towards a green economy, an economy that sucks solar power and wind power and using the ocean to generate power, I think we'd
Maybe
be.
the ocean could. Okay, this is my concern with that. With all the biodiversity loss that we're already experiencing, if we were to rebuild our entire infrastructure to, the green energy, there would have to be a lot of mining and extraction done in order to do that. A lot. So
What, the
how do you
steel, you mean? For steel?
for steel, for cobalt, for copper, for all of that you would need for that, and plus the transportation of for one, the raw materials to where it's being built, and then the finished product from where it's built to where it needs to go. All of that's going to require fossil fuels because we don't have the ability to do that yet without fossil fuels. So my concern is, will it hurry things up? Will we destroy more environments for more ecosystems, more habitat, and make things happen faster? That's my concern. I'm going to be talking to. Do you know Derek Jensen? Do you know who he is?
No, no.
You should know who he is. He's amazing on the environment. He's an environmental philosopher. So you
Okay.
would totally love him. Um, watch Endgame. That's the perfect start to get to know who Derek Jensen is. His
Yeah.
There's videos on YouTube that you can watch, or you can read the book Endgame. It's fabulous.
Right.
Anyway, I'm going to have him on my channel on Thursday on the 4th of July, and we'll be talking about the problems with the green energy and how there's unintended consequences
Hmm.
to that. And we really need to focus on reducing our energy consumption, because like in California, where they say they went to so much green energy, they haven't reduced the fossil fuel use. They've just increased the solar energy use, and those are things that need to be addressed. So they
Yeah.
have more wind, they have more solar there, but they haven't reduced fossil fuel use at all. They have,
Well,
more.
I think that, I don't agree with that opinion. I don't agree with that perspective, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because there's an urgency right now. This is not, well, maybe later will change. The trajectory right now is heading for disaster. We're heading for the iceberg.
No, I agree with that.
You keep burning all the fuel, and eventually the fuel dies out, and then what happens? Now you're stuck because you didn't plan for that transition. So yes, I would agree that you're going to use up some minerals and stuff going into the transition, but ultimately you're not going to, and the biggest one is the greed. It's the fossil fuel industries that refuse to step down.
Yeah, but
Unless
if
you
we could balance that out, like
Right.
take the military off the wars, and instead of
Right.
using, because they're the number one polluter, the number one user of fossil fuels is the U.S. military. If we could
Right.
get them out of the freaking wars and instead put them on doing that, that may balance it out just enough so we could get it done. I still worry about the biodiversity loss, however.
Yeah, I just saw a clip on an electric plane that these guys in Israel came up with. Commercial flight flies 20,000 feet, 10,000 feet,
Hmm.
10,000 feet, 270 miles an hour on a battery. Right? It can only go. It can't cross the Atlantic at this point, but
Hmm.
for short distance, the solutions are there. Right. So
Yeah,
I
if
mean,
they could reuse like things that are already
yeah,
here, like already manufactured, already mined. That's another thing that I would like to see happen is that not digging up more minerals, not digging up more
yeah,
um, stuff, not taking up more habitats that we need for other species to survive so we can survive.
right.
That
I think
is what weighs on my heart, is just seeing more destruction of the other species on the planet, because we can't live without them. We just can't. And we got to get rid of monoculture farming and live more locally. And I mean, you live very locally. You live in your very small area, right? You don't travel a lot. You don't drive by car.
I don't have a
You
car.
walk a
I drive.
lot. Yeah, that's see, that's really cool. If we could all just be where we don't have to drive to work, especially me. I mean, I drive all over hell and back. But I would love just to be home, farm my small little garden, and share food with my neighbors, and do that. You should get subsidies if you're farming, different crops, variety of crops, and sharing them with the people in your community. I think that would be a very good use of resources that way, instead of paying companies to come in and destroy the land and to pay minimum wage and not help. I
Yeah.
don't know. I have weird
Yeah.
ideas.
It's greed. I mean, I think, my grandparents' generation, not saying my grandparents are greedy. I'm saying that the people of that time running the show, the oil companies, made a calculated choice when Europe was moving towards high-speed rail and Asia moved towards high-speed rail. We moved towards a car in every garage. Let's
Or
make it
two.
two cars in every garage. And,
Mm.
so, and that's where we are right now. And that unfortunately that boat, it must be turned around, right? And
Mm.
so
Just
we
having
got.
two people have to work, to support a family nowadays, that doubled the driving and the transportation needs right there.
You know that
Not that
that
I'm saying
humans.
women should be the ones stuck at home all the time if that's not their thing.
No, yeah, whoever works. Do you know that one trillion animals, right? are killed every year just for human food. 1 trillion. And that includes every a cow and a shrimp are equivalent on that in that assessment, right? But
Right.
a trillion creatures are killed. Now, is there any? There's no repercussion to that. There's no. There's no. We live in a society where we feed on the misery and the the ingestion of other creatures. When there's no legitimate reason to do that. Again, I'm a nutritionist. You can't say protein. I know it. It's just a lie. Right? There's no reason to continue that suffering. And my view is that type of suffering, that type of disrespect for other beings,
Other species,
other
yeah.
species, other the people next door, the people that are slightly darker or lighter than thou, the people who choose to do something different in their bedroom. Like, all of that stems from the ignorance of one of the reasons is from the inability to respect the planet and respect other species, including eating them.
Yeah, feeling superior to them. I
Yeah,
think that's the problem is especially with the patriarchal society and men are superior to all other beings and it just flows downhill and animals are not respected as as widely as they should be, considering that we are animals ourselves. We
right.
totally are animals, and we should look at them as fellow earthlings that we share this planet with, and down to the funguses and the insects and the microorganisms. We need all of that. The world took millions and millions of years to evolve to where it's at to be a delicate, perfect balance, and humans come in and one fell swoop screw it all up. It's
No doubt about it. No doubt. It's a ticking time bomb, and it's becoming more and more obvious. I had a great thought, and I forgot what I was going to say. Uh,
oh shoot, I'm sorry, I talked right over your thought.
no, you didn't. I talk too much. I have to learn how to listen.
You're the guest, so you should be talking
Right,
more
right.
than me.
No,
So
but this is good stuff. This is stuff that makes people uncomfortable. This is a topic people make it makes uncomfortable. Calling now, I hope I didn't sound like I was doing that, but I don't. I went through a period where when I watched the slaughterhouse videos, and I'm going to keep kicking this because it's entwined to the degradation of the planet because that's what I wanted to say. So when you were describing the animals, we're not that different from animals. I was like, have you ever been on a pig farm? Right? Or pigs are very smart, right? They're not
oh,
we're not
they're very smart. I actually kept a pig for a couple of years for like they boarded it at my house, a
yeah.
pot-bellied pig, and I got to know her pretty well, and
We're
yeah,
not that we're not that much smarter than a pig, is what I'm trying to say. And
we're not. Or
you
from
know,
horses. I
yeah,
live
yeah,
around.
we could sit and make phones and make stuff and have a conversation, but that's not much higher on the intellectual level, really, when you think about we still have the same four legs, the same pigs have a remarkably similar brain and intestinal system and
Mm,
structure, body structure as humans, and who could deny the intelligence of a dog or a cat? It's just,
I don't know. I love my dogs and my cats, but I would say my horses are far more superior in emotional intelligence. I really, I mean, they can actually communicate over distances with you. It's amazing, and I have proof. Well, not. I have witnesses.
right.
One of my horses was a rescue I had. We didn't know she was pregnant, but she told me she was in labor the day she went into labor, and I barely made it there in time. I was 45 minutes away. I rushed to my house, got towels and iodine, and went outside, put the flashlight in the stall, and she popped out the baby. It was insane. She told me over 45 miles away that she was going to have that baby. It was Horses are very emotionally intelligent, very I don't know, what do you call it? Can't think of the right word,
Hmm.
psychic kind of they can communicate over distances. It's amazing, and they've actually done studies that prove that they can communicate with each other with their herd mates that are in other stalls or in other properties. They can actually communicate with them. It's insane.
Right. Yeah. I mean, dolphins. They just started to hunt the Japanese. I just saw this morning an article about the Japanese are starting to whale hunt again.
Whaling. Ah, ah, ah.
I mean, you want to just like just that's it. 66% of the ocean is already uninhabitable. It was or altered. That's the words that the
Yeah.
UN is using. It's like, okay, kill every whale, kill all the whales,
Yeah,
and
let's just hurry it up, get rid of them faster. They're starving anyway, so
well, God,
whatever.
God put them here for us to eat. That's the point.
I know. But didn't that make you say I almost threw up when I seen those whales that they threw up on the in the boat, like, or the dock or wherever they were. That was
Watch
like,
some slaughterhouse videos. Watch the cows in
oh
line
no, I can't.
while
I can't.
the friend that they just met on the farm gets pushed into the killing apparatus. You hear them scream. They smell the blood. They see the terror. They
Oh no,
cry. They fight for their lives.
yeah.
They show every emotion of terror,
No,
and
the closest.
to believe that that doesn't transfer into the meat that you're eating is a little blind.
Yeah,
I don't care.
definitely.
There is no humane. Hold on a second. We have a guest.
Oh, nice kitty.
She's gonna cry. So
Oh,
I mean it's inescapable that transfers
yeah.
into the meat, the angst at the moment of death, right?
Yeah, and it starts long before that. While they're, I went by a meat packing house. I had to go and deliver some parts for um, a boiler company that I worked for, and I was so disgusted. I could just feel it. I could feel the tension in the air, and there was like a ramp. I've talked about this several times on my channel too. There was a ramp that went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That was just a full of cows, just on assembly line, going to be slaughtered. And I know herd animals, they can do that, like horses. They can transfer their feelings, their emotions, pictures. They think in pictures and can transfer that to the other animals, and just the stress that they must go through, the terror that they must go through. Um,
Yeah.
it's
One of your
horrible.
wrenches just said one of your wrenches said in the comments, do not eat factory farm meat. Wrong. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There is no humane where show me a humane way to kill somebody. Show me a humane way to kill. Right? You're first of all, you're breeding them like chickens away from the male. All you have is female chickens. Well, not for meat, but for like eggs, for example, right? You're breeding them in abject poverty, and there is no humane way to kill. I disagree with that argument.
I I think I think if you're, I don't know, this is really difficult for me because I came from a family of hunters. I never could hunt. I can't kill anything. I can't even kill a freaking fly myself.
Right.
I can't. But my parents always taught me, you respect the animal, kill it quickly, but free wild ones, not ones that are not putting them in feedlots and then the packing house where there's a lot of suffering for a long time. um it would be a good life and then a short quick death, but I don't even agree with that at this point, and that's why I'm working really hard to grow my own vegetables. I grow my own food. um I mostly eat that. I'm waiting for my beans to grow so I can have more protein in my diet. I do have chickens with eggs, but our chickens are pets. I love my chickens to death. Um, I don't know. I have a lot of animals. I have rabbits that are just pets. I just love them to death, and just take care of them. They were my kids' pets, and they took off, so now they're all my pets. Um, but I respect animals a lot. I love them, and I don't want to eat them. I want to find another way, but I can't hold it against someone who hunts for food. I don't. I don't know. I just think it's a natural cycle of life. I mean, lions hunt,
Yeah.
other animals hunt. So I don't know how I feel about that. I'm trying to figure out. that
A
whole
lot of
thing.
people,
I want to get
that's
away from
one one of the arguments people make is that they say, oh yeah, Conti, if you were starving to death, you would eat that cow. You would eat that cow. Would you eat?
I wouldn't.
Would you
Not if
well,
I had to kill
that's a
it. No.
that is a different equity and an invalid argument to make because there's no reason to do that. Poverty, all right. So somebody's stricken with poverty, and a deer walks across their property, and they don't view it as an animal. They view it as 60 pounds of meat that's going to feed their kids. I get that. I get that part of it, but again, you're still, as you say, contributing to the violence of hunting. But
I
again,
don't.
is
I don't. I don't even fish anymore. I used to fish. Sorry.
the takeaway is that none of it, absolutely none of it, in my view, is necessary. You can, I mean, Indians, India, Hindu, there's more beans, more types of beans and lentils than people know that exist, right? I know them because that's what I eat. But to manufacture your own, uh, make your own alternative proteins and such, right? Proteins are a combination of different amino acids. It's biology 101, right? You don't necessarily need meat is a complete protein, so is egg, but there's incomplete proteins all over nature. When you put them together and eat a variety of foods, the body knows what to do with it. Right? I'm in my 50s, right? I'm pushing. I'm almost 60 years old. I don't feel
And you're
60.
looking pretty damn good
You know
for
what I'm
that
saying?
age. I would never have guessed you were that old. I'm not that
Yeah.
that's old. You're still young, but
Right. And my hair is just more beautiful now than it was when I was 19. So it's
yes,
like,
you have gorgeous hair. It must be the coconut oil, right?
so there's no where's the excuse for the animals? Well, that's the animals, and it if not for them, do it for yourself. That the elements of violence and such, and pretty soon there'll only be the earth will be a burned out kind of desolate desert with just humans and the animals that humans eat. What a great
Yeah,
picture, man! Wow.
I don't want to live that way. I love nature way too much. I want to preserve it as much as possible.
So
And
so answer your question. 2050. Are we on that? Are we on that? Are we on our way in 2050? Well, the population doubled from 1970 till now, tripled. Right in 1970, I think there was 2.5 billion. Now
it's
we're up to
1950 that it doubled, I think, to
yeah,
now.
and
Still.
we're it's yeah, it was like 2 billion, 2.5 billion around that time, and now we're at pushing 8 billion humans.
Yeah.
So 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 nothing is changing in terms of the fossil fuel industry sucking every ounce of every drop of oil out, creating tsunamis, heating the planet. Nothing is changing whatsoever. Right. And nothing is changing with the animals. People are still going to do the same thing, still chopping down the trees, polluting the water, multiplying out of control. I don't know the little technicals of CO2 in the air and how the Earth is chilling a point. The ice caps are melting. None of that is changing. So let's triple the population and make it 24 million, 24 billion humans by 2025, 2050,
We
right?
won't make we won't
We're
make
not
it.
going right.
I mean,
It's just
we're adding 250,000 people per day, and we're losing 250 species
right.
every day. So that math is not leading us to a good place.
It's like a cancer. It's like a
Mhm.
cancer. It sets in the body. It doesn't take over the whole body right away, but it takes over just enough of the body to kill the body. Right? It's what Malcolm Gladwell calls the tipping point. That point of you could push, you could go just far, but you can lean the bottle just far enough until it falls over, and then it falls completely. And that's how I see it more. I don't think
Mm.
we experience a sucking every drop of oil out of the ground. I see it and then fighting for resources. I don't see it at all. I see it more as a heating process, and then almost like a bubble, like the atmosphere kind of pops and creates a very, very extreme condition that kills a lot of people quick, and then ultimately all of them. And then probably the Earth will go through, I don't know, a million years of, how many million years of an ice age to freeze it out and start over. It's probably what we're heading for.
Yeah, probably. And yeah, I had a thought and it just escaped my brain. Oh, the food shortages with what's going on in the Midwest and not being able to plant the crops. Only 58% of the crops. What am I saying? The crops have been planted so far, and then there's the heat wave in Europe that's hurting crops and all that. So what about food shortages? If we keep increasing populations every day, there's going to be food shortages. Anyway, I mean, there's so much that can go wrong right now
Yeah. So that,
with
you watch mainstream media, and they want you to talk about politics. They want you to talk about how Trump is a racist, and how Bernie Sanders is a socialist, and how and on and on and on, the ridiculous circus of the mainstream media. This should be their function. This should be their calling, to alert people, to turn the ship around.
they should be
And if
talking about this every day and they're not. They're just once in a while they'll mention it and with that 2050 report, it was all over the news for 15 minutes and then it was gone.
that's it.
And they forgot all about it back to the royal couple's baby and crap like that. It's
It's
that's why we need you. That's why
a,
I'm on here. It's because they're not doing their job at all.
No, they're not doing their job, and that's a. I mean, if nothing else, I mean, in terms of opportunism, yeah, it is a great opportunity to talk about truth. As you move on with this, the more vocal you are, the more you'll get attacked. I mean, I've
Hmm.
I've been I've been called
Oh, I know.
everything. I've been called everything, besides a child of God, and that continues, and that's okay. It's just that's fine. That's people challenging, whether they're challenging their own belief or they're challenging, they're a corporately sponsored challenge, which you get those too. People come in, and you see the sock accounts come in trying to turn your narrative around, especially if they know
Hmm.
you read the comments. They'll start to flip your narrative, and that's the corporate entity. That's the oligarchy working against the
Oh
people,
yeah.
trying to keep you down, trying to we don't want to talk about this climate change shit. We got to make money, man. You can't knock down
That
Exxon off the Dow. We'll lose money.
that might slow consumerism. We can't do that. And people might stop having babies to, they need to have more consumers to buy more things. So people have to keep having babies. That's why it drives me crazy when people say that population it is a hoax, like overpopulation of humans is a hoax by the rich people. They want to get rid of the poor people. That's not true. They want the poor people to buy their stuff, to to
Right.
to be their laborers, to be their slaves. They want more people. That's why you have stupid asses like Mike Lee on the floor of the House saying that we need to have more babies so that they can be the next person to solve the problem. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't see the wealthy elite saying anything about overpopulation being an issue. It's not them. It's very few people speaking out against it.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, there's money. I think the way to spin that is that there is money. There's money in poverty, and the 1%, the wealthy, have never had it so good. They've
Hmm.
never. There's this probably a million and a half people walking the earth that just have so much money and so much power and so much, uh, 5 homes, and just so much money that they couldn't spend it in 10 lifetimes or 100 lifetimes, and 95% of that money doesn't hit the real economy. It's just,
Right.
it doesn't
Sitting,
stimulate people.
sitting
It
in
just
bank
sits.
accounts. It's just, yeah, they're buying three, four, five houses and yeah, they're, I don't know, there has to be some kind of equity in order to solve this issue. And I don't know what that answer is. I don't even know if it can be solved, but um, I'm kind of a doomer chick. I don't think it's gonna be solved only because there's not enough people waking up to it. There's not enough people trying to solve the problems right now, and not with the urgency needed. So
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Listen, we have the power to do it. The good news is there a good news to this? Can we turn it around? Yeah, but you
sure,
have to
yeah.
have
I love good news. Let's hear some good news.
you gotta it has to stem out of American politics because if it doesn't, no one's going to take the lead, right? I mean, everybody on this half of the earth is looking at us for guidance, right? And the number's 535, right? It's the House and the Senate. If we could remove, everybody thinks, oh, president's going to lead the way, but you're not going to budge the House and the Senate, especially the House that writes the laws, because they're listening to the donors, they're listening. The corporations write the laws, the politicians lobby for it, and 95% of what the people want doesn't ever get voiced. Now, do like for example, healthcare? 70% of the country wants universal single payer healthcare. Probably more than that on the Democratic side. But why do you have Democrats on a stage in a debate saying we're not for single payer healthcare? Who put you there? Your job is to respond to the people, not the
Right.
corporations. How do you what do you mean you're not for that? Who are you? Listen to your constituents. They're for it.
They're not. So
Got
where's
to
the
get
good
rid of
news?
them.
I'm waiting. Where's the good
Well,
news?
no, the good news is that, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give you the good news. The good news is that we could that if people are aware of that, right, and can take down that part of it by getting money out of politics, for example, real policies like, overturn Citizens United. If we can get a concerted effort in Congress and state to stop giving all these tax breaks to corporations, you got to get the money out of politics. You have to stop politicians from taking money illegally, right? And then because again, they get elected, they turn to the people, they get elected, and then the second they get in there, they turn to the donors and say, "How can I help you?" Right? You gave me $1 million. How can I help you? Unless because if you want, I mean, I've got honest, right? I've gone to green rallies. I've seen the hippy dippies. That's a slur, but you know what I'm saying, right? People that are all on board. I got my vegan shirt on right now. Right, vegan. I'm wearing a vegan shirt, right?
I
But
consider myself kind of a hippie. I'm definitely kind of
I
a
don't mean
hippie.
it in an insulting way. I'm just trying to frame it
I
to
don't take it that way. I
the
don't.
type. Listen to me, type of people, right? And you go to these rallies,
Mm,
and you look like one of them, right? Oh, they think, oh, this guy he's a hippie reporter. I'll talk to him, and then you look him in the face and you say, how do you expect any of this to happen unless you take out the oil companies? How do you expect to get, wind farms and solar panel farms when the oil companies are just not going to have it? How do you expect that to happen? How do you stay positive unless you know, pick the enemy, know thy enemy, and that's
mhm.
and I mean, it's almost a given. Every time you go, everybody's so peace and loving and caring. Yeah, but you got to get at some point you got to bang on the table and get it done. And
Yeah,
it is,
that's true.
it is
And we need
consistent
to
at
be in
those
the
rallies.
street. We need to be in the streets. And I love it when you cover the yellow vests. And
Yeah.
um, the only thing that this bothered me, you walked right by the Extinction Rebellion protest that was going on. And
I
you're like,
remember,
what's this?
I think
There's
I
something
remember
going
you
on
saying
here. I
that.
don't know what it is. And you walk by it. I'm like, but Extinction Rebellion, it was right there.
Wait, that was where was that? That was somewhere. That was in New York, right? Yellow vest.
Yeah, it was a Saturday. You were looking for a yellow vest protest and walked right by the Extinction Rebellion
Oh
protest.
yeah, yeah, it was probably Washington Square Park. I was by myself or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
yeah,
reading your comment. That comment rings true. Hey, you walk by the animal, you know. I probably did.
you did. I had another indie outsider, another YouTuber was there, and he seen you, and he was covering that protest. You were right there looking for yellow vests, and all you have to do is put an Extinction Rebellion's insignia on your yellow vest, and there you go. Because a lot
Hmm.
of the yellow vesters are joining the
I
Extinction
was. I used to follow a lot of the more radicalized chat rooms on Facebook. There was one, I
mm,
remember, it was called uh, 269 Life, right? It's this kind of a very, very extreme, you know, uh, organization from Israel. And they would, they go into supermarkets and they help have protests, fake blood, big, extravagant kind of events that bring people's attention to the killing of animals. And I don't think it works. I don't think that calling people murderers and pointing out how stupid they are. You're stupid with that big gun shooting the animal. Oh, you feel like a real man, don't you? Shooting a helpless animal, right? And that's sort of that sort of philosophy, in my view, doesn't work, right? Because then you
no,
just the meat companies and the oil companies, they love that talk. They instigate that talk. They want you to fight. They don't want you to listen to each other. They don't want you to know, um, certainly, that the stuff that I read before about how we're killing and choking the planet, right? That's not in the business plan. That's not. There's not. There's nobody. A corporation is gonna work on behalf of the environment. How ridiculous! They
it's
work
like
on behalf of the donors. They work on behalf of the shareholders. That is the business model of a corporation, profit. Right? You take away the profit motive, you break them down, and you have a chance. You have a chance to maybe reverse, definitely extend the length of humans, but maybe reverse it. I don't know. It's possible. I don't know.
none of us know because the Earth system is so complicated. People have not figured it out. Not even the best scientists have figured out what's going to happen and when. That's we just don't know. And like Derek Jensen always says, life wants to live. So I'm hoping that holds true, especially for natural world. So that's that's why I'm the natural progressive. So
Yeah, it's
for
a
the
good title. I like it.
natural
Is
world.
it is it progressive? Is your politics progressive? Is that the
It
progressive part of it?
progressive were my politics, and now I don't know so much if I am considered a progressive
Mm.
or
Yeah, the
I don't
meanings have
know.
changed, haven't they? The
They
meanings of these.
absolutely have. When you have people like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and all that calling themselves progressive, Hillary Clinton saying she's
It's a joke.
progressive. It's
Yeah.
yeah, that ruins the whole definition. They already ruined the term liberal. That's messed up. So I don't even want to label. I was thinking seriously of changing my channel name, but I don't know. I keep going back and forth because I'm conflicted, and that's what I've been told my channel name. One of my people said I should be called conflicted because I'm conflicted on so many things. So we'll see if I have the guts to change it after all this time. It'd take a lot of work. I'd have to change my logo and everything.
Yeah.
We'll
I mean,
see.
even people watching your channel saying like that, diet, your pancreas will stop working. Pat Hacker said your pancreas will stop working. Pat, come on, man.
Hey, she's
Yeah,
both of our audience. You know, we
I
share
know, I
Pat
know, I know,
Hacker.
Pat. Pat, we're tight, Pat. But there is. Look, I've gone through periods of making mistakes as a vegetarian and stuff. But I really believe that that argument is off the table. There was another thing somebody said here. I'm trying to read this shit. Someone pleaded there must be an answer. We have been programmed to eat the way we are eating. Yeah, it is. That is the essence of it. That there is a. But is here it is. Is it me telling you need to become a vegetarian, or is it you doing it yourself and then leading by example, right? And then you just do your life. Let your life. Like, people don't know. I don't say that I'm a vegetarian. I don't voice this opinion. That's why I wanted to come on your show and talk about it, because I don't really get to talk about this stuff, right? And
Right.
because there's not capitalism. There's not enough interest in it. People start shutting down when you talk about it, right? And
Mhm.
that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. But here's the deal: you use you grow and you talk, and then every once in a while, right, you have this platform and someone's asking you about who do you think is going to win the election, and you say, you know what, there's this issue going on about, and then you tell them, and you have
Mhm.
that moment where you can you can plant that seed, right?
Mhm.
As that's enough. Sometimes that's enough when people ask you and say, "Oh, by the way, I'm vegan, and here's why." Not for my own sake, but for the sake of the animals, the sake for the sake of the planet.
I
So
know that works better with me because I was a full-on meat eater. I hate to admit it, but I was, and now I've reduced it, and I start feeling guilty for what's going on with the animals, and since I won't allow my husband to hunt, um, I'd had enough of that with my parents growing up. I hated having animals hanging in our barn, dead, carcasses. It made me just sick. I couldn't deal with it. Um, so yeah, I mean that made the biggest effect on me is just people telling me that they are doing this, they are vegan, and then me thinking, oh my God, well I'm the biggest animal lover there is. How can I be eating the
yeah,
so
there is.
uh,
Yeah, I mean that when you point that out to people, it's like, I mean, I have cats running around, and you one the first time you hug a cow, or you meet a pig, or you feed the squirrels in the park, or I have a raccoon that comes to my window. Used to has I haven't seen the raccoon in a while. Comes to my window up on the fourth floor, right? Climbs up the fire
oh
escape.
wow, cool.
Was coming like every day for every night exactly when the sun went down. There's the raccoon, and when you see the intelligence and the dignity, and the life there, to deny that is it requires a leap of faith. It requires a leap of faith into some other ideology, like, oh no, God put him there. That's for us to eat, right? You know, um,
I've never subscribed to that thing that beasts are put on this planet for humans to use and abuse. I've never
someone's asking
subscribed to
about
that.
diabetes. May I answer diabetes? So there's two types of diabetes, Eddie. That there's insulin dependent, and then there's the other actually there's two types, one that you're born with and one that you develop over time. Most of the diabetes that we're seeing in the world stems from obesity, sedentary lifestyle, smoking, drinking alcohol, eating crap. That's type 2 diabetes that evolves out of bad habits. And then eventually your pancreas will shut down and you won't be able to manufacture your own insulin. You'll become insulin dependent. The other type is you're born with it, and we don't really have a solution for that right now. And but the latter part of it, all of it can be controlled through diet. There's no inescapably there's a transition when you move from eating meat to eating, a complex carbohydrate diet. There's a little curve in there, right? And you feel a little, shitty for a while, and then you snap out of it, and then you feel like, wow, I could never. I mean, I could never go back. I could never go back to I don't even know what the feeling feels like anymore. To be honest, I don't know what it feels like, but I smell it, and I probably have forgotten what it tastes like. Uh, but eventually, it's something that is not even it's not even an afterthought. It's not even something that I would. I've eaten meat accidentally a couple of times, just to you order something and it's there, and you take a bite and spit it out and try not to kill the waiter. And but other than that, it's just, it's a you cross over into a healthier situation, a situation better for the planet. And again, there's no actual reason why human beings still need to eat animals. There's just no reason for it. Okay, Eddie?
Ah, well, I gotcha. Okay. You're amazing, Marcus. It has been an hour, and I really do have to get to work. I stayed home at the hotel a little bit longer, just so I could have this interview with you. I was so
Well,
excited
thank
that
you.
you agreed to do
Thank you.
this.
I mean, that's to me, that's flattery. I appreciate it. I mean, I don't. Sometimes you don't even know if if what you're saying matters. It's just you just keep speaking the truth, and I do this every day. I try to make sure that I do. I keep. I don't ever want to lose my touch. Take my finger off the pulse of politics or things like this. And that's why I do it. I mean, it's financially sometimes it's difficult because people don't realize that they only see an hour video or 20 minutes or 10 minutes. This guy's a slacker. All he does is he's living a good life. He makes his 1 hour video, but the research and the preparation and the staying in the game is a 24/7 job. It's you constantly you
You
wake
try
up
to
with
work a
it.
40-hour a week job and do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you
It's
just
insane. Oh.
it's I wake up with the story in my head. I gotta write that shit down. I gotta do that story. It's
I
crazy.
do too. I take notes. Oh, I need to do a show on this. I need to talk about this in my next. Well, now I'm just doing live stuff right now. Rarely record things anymore. So I like
Mm.
talking to the people. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
it's amazing to actually, and I bet all the people your people that are on here
Yeah, but
love the opportunity
I
to
couldn't
chat.
I'm only reading this because I'm not engineering it. We got someone else is doing it.
Mhm,
So I can't I've tried. I mean, I wind up, messing it up if I'm gonna try to run videos and talk, or I could just
mhm.
ignore the chat and let people go. But yeah,
That's why I invite other people onto my channel. Then I can read the chat while they're talking.
I see it. I see it. I see it fine. I got it set up. I could read what people
That's awesome. But I bet you they love talking to you, like because most of your stuff's recorded, so they don't get a
Yeah,
chance to.
yeah.
I mean, they do in the comments later, but live while there's a response is kind of. I think a lot of people like that. I know I like that a lot. God, I have to have you on again because I really want to
Well,
go into the Julian Assange and Seth Rich thing. I really do.
yeah, yeah. That's a heavy that's a heavy subject right now.
I Yes, but Julian
It's a
Assange
hornet's
is so
nest.
important.
He
It's
really
very
is. He's an important figure in history right now. Our rights to freedom of speech, freedom of the press are in the balance. Julian Assange is, a 100% truthful, guy who's released this information over and
important.
over again, and is now being, prosecuted, and
Yeah, he's
it
a
ain't right.
publisher. He's not a hacker. He's a publisher. I mean,
Right.
how many other news outlets have published what Julian Assange WikiLeaks has put out? And
Mm.
that's just insane for him to be put in this position. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a really important topic, and I'd love because you've done so much work researching it. I would love to have you on and talk about that
Yeah.
and and what you know about Seth Rich because
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly, I a lot of it goes over my head when I'm trying to do two
There's a
things
lot
at
of
once.
detail.
So yeah,
There's a lot of detail that is there and has been scrubbed, and the public has been gaslighted on that story. It's a tough one. It's a hard one to follow. And I mean, even today, I did a video earlier that about a bit of information on Seth Rich, and I'll leave it there for you so you can go. So,
yeah. And by the
but
way, everybody, Marcus Conte's YouTube channel is in the description, show notes, so you can click on his channel. He
I
really is
appreciate that.
great to watch. He is amazing on all the political issues. He may seem kind of abrasive, maybe insulting to some people. So just be prepared. Just have a sense of humor and deal with it. Okay, you can get over it. I love it. Once you get to know his personality, it's like, oh, okay, that's a joke. It's good. It's
Right.
just good.
The joke's
Lighten up.
on you. You were offended. That means the joke's on you, right?
Right, right. No, but definitely check out his channel. I think you'll really enjoy it. I think almost everybody on my channel would totally enjoy Marcus. Totally. I know I'd get a kick out of watching him all the time. So I'm very pleased that he agreed to be here today, and hopefully he'll come on again. I've got quite a busy week this week, and next week I have Jordan Sheridan coming on my show. So that's
Oh
really
wow. Oh
yes.
wow. He's an interesting guy. I like Jordan. I don't think he likes me much. I think
He just doesn't know you if he doesn't like you. So
I think I called him a predator when he was going through that
oh,
sex rap. I was like, oh man, he likes his young girls.
I
I said
know,
that
but
shit. He
you
didn't.
were no
He
one
wasn't
really
having
knew.
that, right?
He
So,
would have he would have been in jail or something if there was
yeah.
if something
No,
was
the girl was a willful player.
it
She was
was
just
a date
she
that
was right
went
on
bad.
the borderline though. She was like 18, you know, and
Yeah.
they took advantage of her. So
Yeah,
what? But
well,
he's a good guy. I like he does good stuff when he's not talking about himself and
I know.
take a couple of
Don't,
digs.
don't want to insult him because he is coming on Wednesday
No, I
on
can
my
insult
channel.
him because he's not coming on with my show.
I can I love his work with Flint and I love Standing Rock. That works.
He was
So
there. He was definitely there for that stuff.
and that's what we're going to
Yeah,
talk about
he
water.
showed up.
We're going to talk about the water issues across the nation, across the planet. So excited about that. That's
He's your
Wednesday.
guy to talk about. He knows more about Flint than anybody.
Yeah,
He's the guy to
absolutely. I
talk
believe
about.
it's 6:30 Eastern. He's going to be on, so that's 4:30 my time Mountain, 3:30
Good
Oz's
job
time.
getting
So
him. He's an interesting character. You know he's that's a good catch. Good congratulations.
oh yeah, I worked hard on that one.
Yeah.
So, um, and Derek Jensen, of course, on 4th of July, he'll be on
Bring me
3:30
into that
my time.
frame. I'll put me in the frame and I'll come in and I'll insult him or I'll ask him a tough question. Uh,
Jordan?
yeah.
No. You
I'll,
should be in
I'll,
the
I'll,
chat though.
All right, Christine, let me go. I'm burning up over here, and
Yeah, I am too. It's actually really hot in here. I didn't turn on the I'm not going to turn on the air. I'm just going to open up the door, but it's too loud. So I wasn't able to. But thank you so much, Marcus. You have a very good day and I will stay in touch so we can set something up to talk about Julian Assange. So
all right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Christine, for having me. Thank you, Ozzy, for navigating this and helping me out early on this.
yeah.
All right, guys. I'm
And
gonna.
go
What do I do? I
tomorrow,
just.
Dames of Doom, sorry, 7 p.m. Mountain. Dames of Doom tomorrow. The girls. Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Peace out.
Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.